Hi everyone. This is Sai from LetsUpgrade. So let's talk about how to get your certificate. It's very simple. You will see two links in the description. Number one is the place where you have to go and mark your attendance. Marking your attendance tells us like, okay, you are a legit student who have attended this particular session. Link number two is your assignment. This is where your 90% of the priority is. You have to go and submit the assignment that is given to you in this particular session. Once you're done submitting that assignment, we will be evaluating that. We will send you an email. If you get the passing criteria, then only we will give you the certificate on a particular date that is mentioned again in the description. Please check these three things, and this is the way how you will get a certificate from Let's Upgrade. Number one, mark your attendance. Number two, just go ahead and upload your assignment. Check for the email that you have received it, yes or no. What is the feedback that you have received from your trainer? Number three, check on which date the certificates will be released. Thank you. Bye. All the best. Happy learning.
Hello, guys. Welcome to this Excel Foundation. As we all know, this is our day one where we're going to explore the features of essential elements of MS Excel. On behalf of Let's Upgrade, I welcome you all to this training session. Before we begin, let us have a quick look onto what are we going to explore on this day one. So to start with, we will first have an introduction on what is Excel and the real world use cases of Excel so that we are aware of where the tool is used a lot. What are the practical implementation of the tool? Slowly we'll explore the feature of how the screen look because that plays an important role. We all should be aware of the interface, the terminologies which are used in Excel. Otherwise, maybe we are not clear with the terms and then we get confused with what is workbook, what is worksheet, and what do we mean by rows and columns sometimes. So we'll understand those elements very carefully and clearly. Then we'll understand what are the different types of data types that are supported in Excel, why it is important to understand those data types and how they plays an important role when you analyze your data. We'll begin with also writing up some formulas, some basic formulas and operations like sum, min, max over here. Once we are good with that, we'll understand how to make our data presentable because the black and white data may not be always a good option for us to show. So we'll learn some good techniques by which we can format our data sets. Then we'll also move towards handling our huge data set with some simple formulas and do some conditional actions on the formulas. We'll also check the concept of how to format our data, but then with respect to some criterias. It's not always just a yellow color. Maybe sometimes a yellow color has to be given with respect to certain criterias. And as the criterias change, as your values change, you'll be able to see the amazing result on the screen. They get adjusted as per contents written over there. Ahead, we'll explore the concept of how to analyze our data, and for that, the simplest technique like sort your data or filter your data or even go and validate your data. We'll also explore that many times we import the data and the data are not that clean. So how with the help of text functionalities or with the help of some date formulas, we can just make our data good and perfect. That's what our plan is for our day one. Before I start with that, let me share you about me a bit. So my name is Jay Tavari and I'll be your trainer for this course. As you all know, it will be a 2-day plan. I am working onto this field of helping users to understand the tool in a different way, in a better way, or I should say in an easier way also. From past 13 years, I'm doing that. I'm helping learners to understand the tool in such a way that they don't get scared with, oh, I have to explore something in Excel, I have to learn something in Excel. They just start enjoying Excel because when I go with the training, it's always a fun learning training from my side. I'll try the best that I can give you explanation in very simple ways that you understand the terms even if you have never used the tool ever. Not just you'll understand it at a very basic level, we'll take it towards the intermediate level too. I've done lots of corporate trainings and that gives me a benefit of understanding the pain points which industry users are facing. So I'll help you with understanding that too. That when you get a huge data set, a big data set, how to tackle that, how to use your keys in a smarter way so that you can just work amazingly. So I guess all set and we are good to go. So let's start. So let us first start with understanding what is Excel and the real world applications of the tool where they are exactly used. To start with, what is Excel? I can say Excel is nothing but a spreadsheet program which allows you to organize your data, it helps you to analyze your data, and even visualize your data across the columns, rows, and cell. It has in capacity start from creating very basic arithmetical formulas to analyzing the financial modeling. You can have over here the options of writing formulas, functions, creating charts, dashboards, and pivot tables. So you can just do a lot of things inside this mini tool, I can say. The purpose and the values of this tool is it allows you to have a good data management when you have a heavy data set with you. It allows you to streamline your data and make good decisions, because when you get certain data, it's always about finding out some insight from the data so that the company can take some decisions with respect to what is shown on the screen. And that's what the tool will allow you. It allows you to create some insightful, amazing reports very easily, I should say. Now let's explore what are the core areas where the tool is used. If I start with finance and accounting, I can say that the tool will allow me to create my budget plan. So budgeting can be done very smoothly over here. I can have my financial modeling over here. I can even track my expenses of the companies, or even at a personal level, I can use it very smoothly. It even allows me to forecast so that I can predict if the performance in the January was so and so, if the expenses was so and so, how it may be for February, or if last year this was the input, how it can be this time. So I can just analyze those forecasting over here. I do even have an options of creating up templates so that lots of things can be automated over here, and pivot tables can help me to streamline my monthly reportings. That was about finance and accounting. But then if I move towards sales and marketing, suppose if I'm working as a sales person or a marketing person, how can the tool help me? So again, it helps me to have a track on the campaigns I'm taking up. It allows me to have a lead management. It allows me to even analyze my market very easily over here. It gives me an options of building up dashboards, because sometimes showing up the things in a graphical format on the screen with some slicing and dicing can really help me or my management to take decisions faster. When I go towards operations and inventory, it's an amazing tool for tracking your inventories, for the supply chain management, for scheduling, and even for allocating the resources. You may be having some number of resources, but then at times you need to manage those resources and plan out which resource can be used at which place, what are the durations for working on each of the project, and so on, so and so. So all those things relevant to operations and inventories can be really managed very good over here. And the important is, lots of things are automated if you know the way of automating them. When I move towards research and reporting, I should say this is the very first tool which everyone need to learn if you are willing to go towards that level of data science, data analysis terms. It allows you to visualize your data, build those mini charts, and then from those charts you can even highlight some important features, like this was in profit, this was the loss, this is going beyond the range or something. So you can just write some simple formulas, have dashboards, and thus go ahead with your research. And nowadays, because of 365, you really have some amazing formulas which can make your writing of the formulas also uh, very minimum level of formulas. You don't need to go with too many complex functionalities, at least to certain levels, I can say. So I hope you have got a good understanding of how to use this tool at a different level. I can say this is one of the tool used in the market where there is no restriction of only this type of users are using the tool. It's a tool, one tool commonly used by almost everyone in the industry. Can say that 98% of the users in the market are using this tool to arrange their data, to analyze their data, or just to keep track of the data. For any of the tool that comes to your mind, even I today, if I want to store something or write some data, I quickly open Excel and I feed up the infos over there, because I know that's the best tool arranged in row and column format to manage up my data. Let's explore ahead about how the screen look and the interface of Excel. So if I talk about the interface of Excel, the basic terms that comes with Excel are the workbook. Now you need to understand the difference. The other day I was getting a call from one of my friend, and she was like, I am not able to find out my workbook. My workbook is hidden. I said, how come it is hidden? Then she said, no, maybe the worksheet is hidden. So, there wasn't confusion between what is workbook, what is worksheets. So, if you don't know the terms correctly, you may not be able to put your thought process ahead or ask relevant questions. Nowadays, the world is about AI. But then, even to AI, if I want to ask some questions, I should be clear with the terms, whether it is about unhiding the workbook or it is about unhiding the worksheets. So, what is workbook? A workbook is nothing but an entire file of an Excel which may contains one or more than one worksheets. What is worksheets? I can call that as an individual tabs. So workbook is an overall file of your Excel, and worksheets are the different tabs you have within the workbook. What you can do with the worksheet is you can just have separate tabs, and you can put the relevant inputs in each of the tab, because you won't prefer to have everything at one page. One of your page may be just about the customers you have, the other may be the inputs relevant to the orders you have received, and the third one may be helping you to understand the expenses you did. So you may have different tabs, and on each tab you can just store relevant infos. That's the reason we have multiple sheets. And as I said, why does that distinction matters? Because that's in hierarchy. Workbook will have worksheets. Now, what worksheets will be holding? That's what we need to understand ahead. So, the worksheets will be having the grids-like structure, as you can see over here, where you will have rows, columns, and a cell. What are rows? Rows are, this lines which you have. This row, here, the rows are labeled with numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when I say columns, so columns are like vertically arranged datas. You can see them as A, B, C, D, E, F. And then what is cell? Cell is nothing but an intersection of that row and column. So this is a cell. A grid, every grid is like a cell. So multiple cell are there, which in all allows you to store your data. Now, the very important thing over here is, if you know how to effectively navigate between the multiple cells, between the columns, between the cell, between the rows, between the sheets, anything, then you will be able to do your working way faster. You have to always focus on, writing your data in a proper structured way so that you can reduce the errors and keep consistency in your data. I hope you have understood what are rows, what are columns, because many do get confused with that too. When I say hide the row, they are like, what is row now? So row is like numbers, and when I say columns, it is nothing but the column panels. Now, before I move ahead, I would like to introduce you to the screen of Excel. Just have a look on my screen. First thing, how do you open Excel? So when you go for the search panel, you can just search over here for the application called as an Excel. When you click, the application will get popped up on the screen like this. Now, the view of the screen may differ for each of us because it depends on the version of Excel we have. Now, what does that mean? Excel is, what I remember is from 2003, I guess, it started, which I know. Then we have 7, then we had Office 2010, then it was Office 2013, 2016, then I guess after 16 it was 19, then 21, and then now there is a new feature in the market called as Office 365, which is the amazing one. So I am using 365. So throughout the training, this will be my application. Now on the application, why I'm saying this is because if you don't know the version of Microsoft Office you are getting, you will be wondering that why I don't have those tabs, or why the screen look different, the colors are different. Reason is because of the versions we have. Now just check on my screen. How do you check this details? So when you go to the file tab, you will be able to see this window, where at the bottom you may have something called as account. When you go to account, here you'll be able to see the details of the versions of Microsoft Office you're having. So just go and check over there. Or, if even you're struggling with that, you can just write in the search box about Microsoft Office version I'm having. Maybe you'll get a help over there. So That window also will vary, because like for me it is in green color combinations and account it over here, but then for you maybe the things are differing a bit. Other than that, if I talk about the window, so as I was saying, the whole file of your Excel is called as a workbook. Now in that workbook, you can see the name as book 1. That's a default name given to your Excel workbook. But then definitely you're free to save your workbook with your own name, and you should, because book 1, book 2, book 3, after sometimes you will get confused with what is the file name where I was working. So good practice is always to change those names to the relevant info you're going to store. Like, I'll save this with the name day 1 for me. But then how do I save that? You're using Microsoft Office. The standard technique is just say Control S and you'll be able to save your file. But then the save window will get open as a save as for the first time, where you can go and give a good name also. Like I'm going for save as, and I would like to name this as day 1. Let me clear up one more thing over here, that when you save a file, the name of the file will be followed with an extension which helps your which helps your operating system to understand what app you're using, what application you're using, so that next time when you open it, opens in the correct app for you. So for an Excel, it is by default, at least it is XLSX. Okay, and then down it is asking me the location where I would like to save this file. Now you're free to change this or save it at the default place. For me, it is going to my OneDrive because I'm logged in with 365, so it goes to my personal drive, OneDrive. But then in case if I want to change it, I can just simply click on more options. That opens a dialog box for me to navigate, and I can say that I would like to store that at a new folder either, or I can say browse into this PC and help me to save it. So when I go to browse, that's my dialog box which we generally get when we go for any save as window. Over here, I can just navigate again to the place where I would like to save this, give a good name, and save the file. That's how I have saved the file. Now that was an Excel workbook, so the name was given as day 1. Okay, as I said before, when you go for a workbook, the workbook will be having multiple sheets. So you can see over here, sheet 1. By default, only one sheet, that's for me. But again, if you're using Office 2010, you may have 3 worksheets. Okay, but then if you have only one and you want to insert few more, it's just a click event. You click on the plus icon and you'll be able to insert as many sheets as you want. As I said you before, worksheets are a good place where you segregate your data, so you store relevant info in each sheet. The next thing which I want you to understand is, this was a workbook and you can see the name. Below that, what we have is called as the ribbon area. What is the purpose of the ribbon area? It allows you to have all the functionalities of Excel within that area. Like when I go for the area, I can see the home, insert, page layout. What are this called as? They are called as tabs over here. So I have home tab, I have an insert tab, I have page layout tab, formulas tab, data, review, view. Other than that, draw, automate, developer, my own tab, or power pivot, this all are extra tabs available for me, may or may not be for you. Not to worry at all. It's fine. Whatever tabs you can see, it's completely okay. Now, when you go to any tab, like for an example, if I go to home tab, I can see down it says certain names again, like clipboard, font, alignment, styles. What are this? They are called as names of the groups. So they are groups: clipboard group, font group, alignment, style, add-ins. Now again, this will vary for you and me. When I go to insert tab, I have the groups like tables, illustrations, charts, spark lines. When I go to page layout, I have options like themes, page setup, and so on. So every tab will have certain groups, and within the group, you'll be able to see the commands. For an example, when I go to home tab, I can see the commands like paste, cut, copy, and format painter. When I go to font group, I can see bold, italic, underline, and so on. Now why I'm pinpointing up those things, because later on if I want you to go to a certain location, I'll give you very clear instructions like go to this tab, go for this group, and then find out this particular command. There are few commands for whom you'll be able to even see the drop downs, because in the drop downs you have the other options to explore. Exactly below that, if you check, you again have two areas. The first one is called as name box, whereas the second one is named as formula bar. What is name box? Name box is nothing but a place where you can see the name of active cell on which you are working. Now, what do we mean by cell? Cell was this grid which I was explaining you. So down you can see all the grids have been created over there. As I said you before, row number 2, row number 5, row number 10. So these are your rows. And when I say column, this is my column. Column D, column J, column M. These are my columns. Intersection of a row and column will allow me to make a cell. Like I can see this D10. This is nothing but my cell. And that cell address can be checked very smoothly over here at the name box. So if you ever want to see the name of the cell on which you're working, you can see it over here. Otherwise, how do you know on which cell you're working? Those simple borders will allow you to know the cell address on which you're working. They may be of green color, they may be of black color, again, varies as per the version you have. So that is about the workbook, the worksheets, the columns, the rows, the cell. I hope you have got a good understanding about this much. What is your ribbon? Where's your title bar? How to save your file? Okay. Now time to move ahead and explore some more detailings on uh, how to write the contents in Excel. So what is data and what are the types of data you can have in Excel? Data is nothing but the values you're going to feed into a particular cell, correct? But then what do we mean by data types? So Excel do support three types of data types, I can say: text, numbers, and date. So when you write something in a cell, that can be one of these three. If it is a text, it will be a content on which you cannot perform any actions. Obviously, that may be just a label, maybe a name, or maybe the address or something like that. You'll be storing under the text area. When I say I'm storing some numbers, those are the contents on which I'll be performing my arithmetical actions like sum, average, mean, max, or I can even go for some statistical functions on that. When I say I'm storing a date will be stored in such a way that it seems sometimes like a number, but then if you give a correct formatting, it's look like date, and then you can fetch from a date the numbers like days, month, and year. So it allows you to fetch those patterns. Giving a correct data type to your contents really plays an important role. But then before we understand the data types, we need to first check how do we write the data in a cell. So let's start with that. I'm coming to an Excel file which is shared with you too. On this Excel file, we have done with understanding the Excel terminologies. We have done with understanding our ribbon. Now we are working on entering the datas and then checking up the alignment paths. So I have given you one screenshot. I'm just trying to write more or less a relevant info over here at my cell. We usually go for writing up the contents from the first cell, that is A1. That's in good practice. But though Excel allows you to write the contents from any place. I'm at A1. I'm creating my first column as name. Then the next column is my date of joining. Third one is department. And the fourth one is salary I'm paying to my employees. Simple. Now, name, I'll just quickly go with the same name, with the same date also, just to make it quicker, and the same department. So, afterwards, I definitely need to know when the particular employee had joined the company, what is the salary I'm paying to him. So, this window will allow me to, track up those details very smoothly. So, I guess I can even skip writing up everything over here. I'm just free to go with some of the contents and then I can skip that. But if you're writing along with me, remember, in fact, I want that you go along with me and write the contents, because as you do the things practically, if at any place you feel that, okay, I'm not able to catch up, you're free to pause the video and first understand what is written, complete that part, and then only move ahead. For the entire training, kindly keep this in mind that you're not going in hurry. Just don't complete the, okay, let me go with the correct spell first. Perfect. So make sure that when you're good with the first concept, then only you're moving for the next one. So don't, you know, just skip the contents at all. So I'm roughly done with all my records, I guess. And I have written their date of joining, the department in which they are working, and the salary I'm paying to each of them. Now focus over here. When I have written certain text, you can see that they are getting aligned to the left side. I didn't give that alignment. It was picked by default. When I write any date, it is getting aligned to the right side. All your text are aligned to the left sides, your numbers are aligned to the right side. Now you'll be wondering that date is not a number, but then as I said, dates are stored as a number internally in your Excel. Even when you write fractions or if you write some negative numbers, everything will be aligned to the right side only. If they get aligned to the left side by any chance, for an example, I wrote certain date, but then maybe I made a mistake over there. It will get aligned to the left side because it is assuming the date is correct, but then 22nd again. It should be Feb actually, but then I by mistake and wrote it as 22. Or maybe it was December and I wrote 22. That is getting aligned to the left side because it's not able to understand how the date should be treated. The moment I correct it, so that alignment really plays an important role. So make sure you always go with the good alignments. Okay, go ahead and first feed this much data so that in the next part you'll understand the concept of data types and how to change them. So what are the different common data types we have? I can say one of the commonly used data type is currency, where you can just go and give the correct currency symbol, choose the number of decimals you want or the comma separator you want at the location. You can just give those formattings. We even have other common data types like change your data to percentage. You may change them to a fraction part. You can change them to hours, minutes, seconds, or date and time, or maybe you can change them to true and false. Let's do that on the screen. So I'm coming back to my Excel window. We are working on the sheet called as data types. So if you check, my above data is like correctly formatted, but when I go for the down one, seems something wrong over there. My names are fine, but then the column called as date of joining looks like it should be in date pattern. But then as I said you before, your dates are stored as numbers. So sometimes when you either copy or import a data from some other tools, your formattings of dates may appears in this number format and then you may be wondering what is going wrong. So the thing is you just need to go and change the pattern of that. Likewise, my currency over here is in number pattern, but then don't have the currency symbol or don't have decimals also. So how do I change those things? It's simple. Select the data, go to your home tab, and in the home tab, you can see the option. Let me just go for showing you the ribbon first. So you can see over here in the home tab, you have a group called as numbers where there's an option of general. If I open the drop down, I'm free to change it to number. When I change any data to number, I'm going to get two decimals over there. Likewise, if I change that to currency, I'll get the currency symbol, comma separator, and two decimals. If I go and change that to accounting, I'll be getting the accounting impact. Now, if you see, it looks like currency and accounting both are same. Let me just change the above one to a currency impact so that you can compare it. So you can see that the currency icon is far onto the left side in case of accounting. Other than that, if I write a number 0 at both the place, be able to see the difference that here the 0 will be shown as an hyphen, whereas in case of currency it will get displayed as 0 only. If I want to change the formatting, let's say to percentage or something, I just don't have those options over here. I can change it to time, I can change that to percentage, I can just change them to fractions, or I can just make that as a short date or a long date, the one which we are looking for. So it's just a drop down, change the formatting, and you do get the correct impact. So the important point is maybe I'm getting the correct impact over here. And likewise, I'm changing it over here too. Like I'm going and I'm changing it to currency and it works for me. But then what if I want to remove the decimals? How can I remove the decimals? I can just go to the number bar and I can see an option of decrease and increase the decimals. This allow me to remove the decimals also. Let's talk a bit more on this. Let's say we have dates, but then we just want it to be as month and year. Or maybe the pattern should be year, month, and date. Or I want to change the pattern, I want to change the way of writing. How can I do that? Select your data and now press Ctrl 1. What is Ctrl 1? A shortcut key which helps you to change the formatting to your own wish. When I come to the window, I can see I'm at date. So I have options like general, number, currency, accounting, date, time, and all those custom options. So I can choose from here what pattern I want. You can choose even the dot impact from here. You can choose year, month, and date from here, or you can just choose the day, month, and year, everything all together, and you'll get that part. In case if you're getting this hashtag, don't get scared. What went wrong? Nothing. It's just that your column width is not sufficient to display. So just double click at the middle line in between the two columns and auto fit that data. Like I did over here, I can even do it for currency. So I can say control 1 after selecting, go for currency, and I can change the currency symbol to any other symbol I want. Or I can even choose whether the negative numbers should have just a minus sign, or they should be in red color, or they should be in red color with a negative sign. Where you want that negative sign at the start or after the currency symbol. So those simple settings are available, number of decimals you want. But then before I go, let me just make you aware of the on-screen keyboard. So on the on-screen keyboard, I'm showing you my keyboard in short. You can see there's numbers, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'll call them as exclamatory mark, at the rate, hashtag, dollar, percentage, caret symbol, and just before this exclamatory mark, I have this icon which is called as tilt. Now I can even use these icons for changing up my formatting, and I like that more. So when I select this data and I say Control Shift 1, you can see what is changing. It is changing my data to general, to number I can say. When I say Control Shift 2, it changes my data to what? It changes my data to time. When I say Control Shift 3, it changes my data to date. When I say Control Shift 4, it changes my data to currency. 5 is a shortcut key for percentage. 6 is a scientific shortcut key. And tilt button is for general. So when I have a huge data set, this key is like exclamatory mark for number, at the rate for time, hashtag for date, dollar for currency, percentage for percentage impact, caret symbol for scientific impact, and tilt button to get general impact are really awesome keys to get the perfect formattings for you. Make sure guys you press Control Shift and then the combination you are looking for, and that's the best way to go. Okay, I just hope that you are clear on this part also, how to format your data within easy keyboard keys. One is Control 1, which gives you more, and this few shortcut keys to easily go with standard way of formatting. Let's move for the next topic. Now, after this data types, I'm good with them. I would like to know the concept of how do I perform some basic operations on my data, or what care I need to take when I'm entering the data. So, when you're entering or editing the data, the biggest important thing which you need to understand is about the navigation techniques. So, you need to know how do I move horizontally or how do I move vertically down. So, whenever you want to move horizontally, you can use a tab button, you can use shift and tab. If you want to move to the left side, enter will allow you to move down, shift and enter will allow you to move upward. Definitely, no doubt, you can just use your 4 simple navigation keys up, down, left, and right to navigate. When you're working on a cell and you want to edit that cell, you can just use the function key F2 to edit that data. If you have edited something and then you don't want to accept that, just press an escape button and you'll come out of that. These are very simple keys, but then they really help you to write down the formulas way faster. You can even use Control Enter if you want to autofill the same type of contents on a particular range. Control Z, that's a very common key which helps you to undo the task which you have done up till now. All those key combinations will just help you to simply select your data in a correct way. Let me just show you them on the screen now. So I'm coming back to my Excel window. I'll go for the worksheet named as Navigations, requesting you to focus on the screen and understand all the keys. Again, before I start with that, let me show you my on-screen keyboard, because sometimes our keyboards are set to a different layout and we may get confused. So we all know this is a space bar. To the left of that, you have Alt, you have Control, you have a function key, you have Shift, you have this escape button, you have this tab button. On to the right side, I'm interested in this up arrow keys, down arrow keys, left key, right key. For me, at the numerical keypad, I have home, end, page up, and page down. Onto the numerical keypad, I have home, end, page up, and page down. Now you need to check, guys, in your case, whether you have those numerical keypad keys or not. Sometimes maybe you have those keys, but they are not working because your numlock is on. Just off the numlock key, here you'll get the numlock key, and then it works. But then by any chance, if you don't have the 4 keys over here, you'll have them at the bottom. You can use it from there. Let's see these keys on the window, how they work. So we are at A1. Let's say you want to move to the right side. So you can simply use a key called as tab to move to the right side. When you want to move to the left side, say shift and tab. That allows you to move to the left side. Whenever you want to move down, say enter. That allows you to move down. If you want to move up, say shift and enter. That allows you to move up. So these four keys, tab, shift and tab, enter, shift and enter, will allow you to navigate. Though other than that, definitely you can go for down arrow keys, up arrow keys, right arrow keys, and left arrow keys to move. When your target is not just to move but to select the cell as you're moving, you can use shift. So shift and down will allow me to select one cell at a time downward. Likewise, if I'm downward and I say shift and left, shift and up arrow keys, that allows me to select the upper data. When I'm somewhere in the middle and I want to go to the right side, with the selection, I can say shift and right. To the left side, I can say shift and left. So this shift key, along with the combination, is just allowing me to select one cell at a time in the correct direction. Suppose if the target was not to navigate, not to just select, but then to navigate quickly. Maybe I want to write the last record over here. So I want to go to the last value. I can use control down. The logic of control down is it will just stop before a blank cell you have. When you press control down again, it will move to the next place where the values are written. Again control down will stop at the place where the blank values are going to start. Again control down if you press. In this case now I didn't have anything in between. So it just moved me to the last cell, I can say the last row, that is 1048576. Many times this may happen by you by mistake. You quickly just said control down and now you want to move up. You cannot use your scroll bar because it will take a long time. So the best key will be say control up. That allows you to come back. A simple logic, control down will slowly take you down, control up will bring you upward. Likewise, control right arrow keys going to stop me at column K because that's the last data I have. If I say again control right, it takes me to the last column XFD. That's the name of my last column. If I say control down now, it takes me to the last column and last row, that is the last cell, XFD 1048576. If suppose from there I want to go back to the first place, then what I can do is I can say control home. Not from that place though, I can say from any random place. If suppose I want to go back to the A1 cell, then I can say control home. What is control home? It allows you to come to the first cell. In the same way, control end will allow you to go to the last cell, take you to the first cell. Control end will allow you to go to the last cell, not the last cell of the sheet, but the last activated cell. You generally want to go for that last activated cell. Suppose if I'm back to A1 and now my target is to select the data very quickly, because when I'm writing formulas, I have lots of records and I want to do the best selection technique. So I can use the combination of control, shift and keys. So when I say control shift down, it stops at the blank cell, but then again control shift down will allow me to select the entire data. If suppose I'm at A1 and I want to go to the first row, I want to highlight everything, I can say control shift right. Simple logic, control shift down. Here I need to say control shift down thrice because there was a blank row in between. But then at the top for headers, just a control shift right works for me. While I'm selecting, if suppose I set control shift down one more time after reaching to the last value, then I want to go up back, right? So I can say control shift up. In the same manner, if I have set control shift right twice, it takes me to XFD. To come back, I can say control shift left. Then I can even use control shift down, down and down to select the data, right? Or I can say control shift down, down, down and then control shift right. Those are the keys which you should learn to select your data. Definitely you may be wondering that I could have used control A. But see, if I say control A over here, there's a blank row in between. So control A will select only the connective cells. If I keep it over here and I say control A, only the connective region is selected. If I keep it over here though, and I say control A, then the entire table is selected. So it's like even control A keep on changing the behavior as per your cursor is. If you keep it at the blank place and then say control A, your entire sheet is selected. So just a quick check again on the keys. The 4 navigation keys up, down, left and right. Tab button, shift and tab, enter, shift and enter. You can use any of this, right? Other than that, shift with the navigation keys, control with the navigation keys, control shift with the navigation keys. This will allow you to select or just navigate depending on what you would like to do. And then control home, control end. Now, other than that, there are few more keys which you'll be using frequently. Like I'm at A1 and I would like to, read the records. So for now, I can see records from 1 to 15 are visible on my screen. I want to just scroll down. I can go with down arrow keys, but then that will take a long time for me to navigate. So how do I go down? I can use page down. So when I say page down, you can see from 16 to 30. Again page down from 31 to 45. Page down 46 to 60. So what this page down is doing? This is allowing me to scroll my screen downward. If I want to scroll up, I can say page up to scroll up. Page down to move down. Page up to scroll upward. If you want to navigate between the sheets because you have multiple sheets, let's say you want to go to the previous sheet, you can say control page up. What control page up will do, it takes you to the previous sheet. Same way control page down will take you to the next sheet. Now make sure, for me I have page up, page down, home and end. If you don't have those four keys and you're using your up, down, left and right keys, do remember to press the function key, Fn function key, and then the left key or the right keys wherever you want to navigate. Okay. Other than this, there is one more very important key, that is F2. Now don't press F and then 2. It is F2 function key. So on the top in our keyboard we have keys like F1, F2, F3, F4 till F12. Out of those keys, if you press F2, what it will do, it allows you to activate a cell and allows you to edit the cell, I can say. So the moment you press F2 at any cell, it becomes active and you can write your new data. So suppose if I have written new data, but then it was by mistake and I don't want that. So what I can do is, don't hit enter and then delete it. Just say escape. What escape will do, it won't accept the changes you did. I'll repeat that. I said F2, I entered a data, but then I won't want that. So I'll say escape. And if you want that, definitely if you want that, hit an enter key. But then after hitting an enter key, if you realize that no, I don't want that, say Control Z. So you can use F2, you can write your contents, say enter to accept the changes, say escape to reject the changes. Even these keys are really very helpful. Again, remember it was function key F2. So if F2 is allowing you to edit, fair enough. But then if by any chance it don't and it is allowing you to decrease the volume, then what you can do is you can say function and then F2. Any of the two will work, either F2 or function key F2. So whenever I say press F1, F2, F12, F4, it is same for you. If it is working with function, always it will work for functions only. I hope you have got a good understanding on all the keys. Go ahead and give one try before you move ahead. First give a try for this much, because once you're clear on this concept, writing your formulas, doing a data entry will become way faster for you. So go ahead, once give a try and then move for the next concept. Hopefully you're good with that concept of how to use your keys. Now the time is to understand how do I copy paste the data, because not every time you want to go for a different text. Sometimes maybe the same text work for you. So how do you create duplicate values, or how do you catch just the formatting or the formulas from the cell? That plays an important role. Even when you're copying and pasting, there is something called as paste special over here, where you can take a control of how the data should be pasted on the screen. And there is one more option called as autofill. How can you use the fill handle icon to just autofill your data very smoothly onto the screen? Let's explore this concept of autofill impacts and the copy paste. So when I'm talking about autofill, there is a simple logic as you write your patterns. First few patterns will give you an excellent understanding of what are you looking for, and it completes that sequence for you, maybe in numbers patterns or maybe in date patterns. This will help you to reduce your manual typing like 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. We don't write them manually. And also, as you're dragging it, you'll be able to see that it gives you an option of, autofill handle. So what would you like to fill? So let's explore that term. I'm onto my Excel window back. So first of all, this was my navigation window data, right? I want to learn how do I copy paste the data. So to copy paste, it's simple. You say Control A, copy the data. You go ahead at any place where you want to paste it and paste. Suppose if one of the record has to be copied and pasted, I can just highlight the record. How do I highlight the record? Control, suppose my cursor is over here, Control Shift right, Control C to copy. The moment you copy it, start blinking. Take your cursor to the place where you want to paste and paste it. A simple copy paste. But then maybe as you're copying and pasting, you want to take a decision of how it should be pasted. In that case, when you paste, say Control Alt V. When you say Control Alt V, you get a dialog box of Paste Special where you can take a decision of what you want to paste. Paste everything, that is formulas, formats, and the contents. Just paste the formulas, just paste the values, just paste the formats, just paste the comments or the validations. So you can just take your decisions from here. For an example, the simplest one, I have this data, the above one, I'm just copying this. This is the vertical data and I just want to change it to a horizontal pattern. So I can take my cursor over here, say Control Alt V, that opens paste special. Like you say Control V for normal paste, you say Control Alt and V for victory over here to open paste special. You want to convert your columns to rows and rows to column. So you can use transpose and say OK. And see, you got that vertical data been arranged into an horizontal format now. To understand that, I'll just read it. It's like employee first name, then last name, middle name, date of birth, address, and so on. I could have done that very quickly by just Control A, copy, come down to the place where you want to paste it, say Control Alt V, and for transpose, it says E, where E is underlined. So just say E and OK. Once you have copied a cell, it is copied unless and until you click somewhere or you escape. So I can just keep pressing Control Alt V E and gets pasted wherever I want. Control Alt V E and OK. That's a very easy way to copy your datas, right? Now let's talk about that autofill concept. What is that and how that can help me to do my work better? So I'm onto the sheet called as autofill numbers. Above I have given you some patterns. Maybe I just want to repeat the number 1. Maybe I want to write numbers from 1 to 12. Or maybe I want to write the table of 10. How do I do all those things? Do I need to write 1, 1, 1 manually? Absolutely no. We just now checked. I can write 1, copy that and paste it down. That's one technique. Or technique number 2, which is called as an autofill concept. Once you're done with writing any number, take the cursor to the corner and at the border of that cell, you'll be able to see a plus operator. So if your cursor is in the middle, you have a doctor icon. When your cursor is at the corner, you get this plus operator icon. Now you simply drag your data down and you can see it just repeat that number for you. But then what if I want numbers from 1 to 12? How do I instruct that? That's also easy. You write your first number, you write your second number because that first and second will give a hint to your Excel. Now select both, take the cursor to the corner. Once you get the plus operator, drag it down and see you got numbers from 1 to 12. I can apply the same logic to generate the table of 10 because I'll write 10, I'll write 20. That instruct my Excel that I'm looking for a difference of 10. Take the cursor to the corner, you'll get the field handle icon, drag it down and you got the table of 10. Right? That's very easy. I wish I would have this option in the school and I don't need to learn my tables. It's very easy, correct? Or the same technique can be applied for dates. So I'm on the next page, the next sheet, autofill date. I just want to generate the dates, but then maybe I want to keep the date same and change the month. So 1st of April, 1st of May, 1st of June, 1st of July. Or maybe I want to change the year, 1st of April 2024, 2025, 2026. The first one, that is I'll write 1st of April 2026 maybe, and I want to drag it down. So I'll take the cursor to the corner. When I get the plus option, I can drag it down. When I want to change the month, one option for me is I'll write 1st of April 2026, 1st of May 2026. With this, I'm again instructing, I'm giving my patterns. That is enough for Excel to understand what are you looking for. Now take the cursor to the field operator icon and you can see it is just changing your months. The moment you reach to 1st of December 2026, it starts from 1st of January 27. So you don't need to change those settings. Maybe I want to change the year now. You got the technique of how to change the year, but then I'm just doing one difference over here. I set 1st April 2026 This time I'm not writing the second example, but I'm just trying to drag it down. The moment I try to drag this down, it gives me the pattern. And these patterns can be checked at the down when you click on this autofill icon. What I like to do, would I like to copy the cell? Would I like to just fill the days, fill the weekdays, month or year? In this case, I'll say fill the years and years will get filled over there. So it's your call. Either you drag by giving certain patterns or you drag and then choose it from the autofill handle icon. Similarly, maybe sometimes you just want to write a text. So with text, I mean maybe I want to write January, and when I write January, maybe I want to get the list of months. I can just take the cursor to the corner, drag it down, and I can see from January to December. Likewise, I can write Sunday, take the cursor to the corner and drag it down, and I can see the days are getting repeated over there: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Or if you just want to go for some static text, like I'm writing MS Excel by Jayashri, I can just hit Control Enter and it gets autofilled. The technique is quite simple. Select the range in which you want to fill certain text. Let's say let's upgrade and say Control Enter, and it gets filled for the entire area you have selected. So you can use any of the technique, go with your mouse click event, go with your keyboards and just complete the text. Now sometimes, okay, this is working well. Like I mean, I can track the dates, I can track the months, I can track the numbers. I can go for autofill for the numbers. But then what if I would like to have the list of numbers from 1 to 1000? Now writing 1, 2 and then dragging it down can be a bit challenging part. In that case, you again have one good option. I'm adding the first number from where I would like to start. Then I'm moving to the Home tab. In the Home tab, you have a group called as Editing. When you go to the Editing group, you'll be able to see an option called as Field. Now maybe it's a group for you. You don't need to open the drop down. It's a normal group for you. For me, it is in a drop down part. When I go to Field, I can see an option of Field the series. When I say Field the series, I'll get a dialog box. Now the dialog box is asking me, what would I like to fill? Fill a series in the row or in the column? What do you say? Give a thought. Should I go for rows or columns? What it will be? You want to fill it down, right? So it means you want to fill it on the column part. So choose that. Then it is asking you for the type of field impact you want. So maybe you're working on dates, so you can choose dates. I'm working with numbers, so I'm just going for linear. Step value means after one, what do you want? Like I want to go for 2, 3, 4. I mean, I want to add one numbers on each. If you want to add 10 numbers, you write that. If you want to add 1000 numbers, you write that. Then you indicate the stop value. Till what value you want to generate this. I'm saying till 1000. I'm saying okay. And see, that's an amazing one. It is generating the list for me very quickly. Let's just give a quick example once again. I'll go to the Home tab, going for editing part, going for the drop down of field, and I'm saying field the series. Here, you're just writing the step value and the stop value, and then the type of field impact you want. But before you start with any of this, make sure you give the starting value. So I'm not generating difference of 5 till 1000. So what I'll do, keeping my cursor at 5, I'm going for the editing part, field impact, field the series with the step value as 5, and I'm saying stop at 500, let's say. Okay, I have filled the numbers from 5 to 500. This time horizontally. Yes, got the concept of how can you use the field impact to, just auto complete your data very quickly. Yeah, go ahead and give try for this one. Let's explore now how to format the cells so that they are more readable, because as I said you before, black and white color will not work always for us. So when I say I'm trying to format my cell, I may be trying to improve the readability with the help of formatting. I may try to give some consistency in my data where sometimes the red color is indicating a particular type of danger data to be rechecked again, a green one indicating good to go or something like that. Also, when you give a good formatting to your data, you align everything carefully onto the left, onto the right, and not keeping them randomly. That also give an user an option to read your data better. A consistent look onto the screen of a dashboard when you make a final MIS report will be really a more impressive report rather than just a black and white one. Correct? So, though there are lots of formattings, but the thing which you need to understand always is the formatting should be quite readable. It should be very clear. The writing style should be good. The size should be accurate. So, let's see how all those things can be set up. When you are exploring the formatting, there are few things like we'll be considering how to give structure to your data by giving a good format. how to highlight some of the values by using some field colors like your headers or something. And also, what are the easier ways to format your data, like if you have one, how to reuse it for the other one. So this is my plain data, and that's in one where the formattings are given. Absolutely no doubt the second one looks better. Let's check that onto the screen of Excel. So I'm on the same report of ours where the sheet name is formatting. As you can see, the above one is quite formatted, but the below one is without any formatting. So I wish to give a good formatting to this. Option number one for me to format will be, I'm keeping my cursor at the name. I'm going for the home tab. Let me just keep it on the mode where I can just show you the whole window. That's perfect, I guess. Now I want to make the formatting change at the name. So name, date of joining, department and salary are four of my columns, and I want to highlight them. I'm keeping my cursor at name, the cell where I want to format. The first thing I can see is in the home tab, there's a group called as font where I can see Calibri by default or maybe whatever name you have in your case. But then if I open the drop down, I can see the way of changing up the font style. Like we all have a different writing style, and so is what option you're getting over here. You can choose the one which you feel may be a good one to show your datas. The second thing you can do is you can just change the size of your datas by clicking on this drop down. Third one, if you want to give a bold impact to the text, an italic impact to the text, or an underlying impact to the text, you can give that. While you're giving underlying impacts, you even have an option of double underline. So your call whether you would like to go for single or double underline. If you don't wish to get that, just click on the same icons and that will help you to remove the impact. If you're not okay with the writing style you have chosen, you can just go to the drop down again and then change it to the other way you want. If you wish to go with your shortcut keys, you can use Ctrl B for bold, Ctrl I for italic, and Ctrl U for underline. The same keys Ctrl U, Ctrl I, and Ctrl B will help you to get it back to the normal one. So aligning this aligning is same. I can even see an option of A that will help me to increase the size, and A with a down arrow key helping me to decrease the size. Other than that, I can see an option of giving border. So when I click on the border, I have options like I just want to give a bottom border, so just a below border will appear, or I can just say help me with getting a top, a left, or a right border. If you have given some borders and you don't want them, just make that as no border and the borders will get removed. I did it at wrong place. So I'm keeping my cursor at the correct place and then I'm saying no border. That helps me to remove the border impact. If you wish to go and change the border colors, you can just scroll down and you can see line color option where you are free to pick the line color for the text. So I'm choosing a white color for now and I'm saying that I would like to go for a thick outside border. The next option I'm having is the bucket icon, which can help me to give a good background color to my text. So let me just go for a blue one, and then I can see a letter A, which allows me to change the text color. So I'm just changing the text color and the background color too. That looks okay to me, but then maybe I want to change the alignment of this cell. So I can go for the alignment group. Let me just increase the size of the row and column so that you understand the concept of alignments better. Now if I say top, it will appear at the top. Then I have an option of middle or at the bottom. Same way I have an option of left alignment, center alignment or right. You may preferably go many times for this middle options so that your text appears at the middle of both row and column. And then you can easily resize if you want. I'm done with the formatting for this name, and now I just want, so what I can do is either go and apply the formatting one more time, or a bit better option, keep your cursor at the name, go for the home tab, use format painter, and then click on the cell where you want to apply it. I'll repeat, be on the cell which holds some formatting, go to the home tab, click on format painter which is under the clipboard group. When you click, a paintbrush icon will be activated. Now you just go and click on the cell where you would like to apply, and that's how you can easily reuse the formatting, I guess. But then if you see, I'm using my mouse to do that action, and I'm a keyboard lover. I always search for keys with the help of which I can do it better. So like for this one, I can even go for Control C to copy, go for salary, say Control Alt V. If you remember, we learned that paste special. In paste special, if I see format is the one which I am looking for, so I can press T, OK, and that helps me to get the formatting with the help of a keyboard key also. Let me just do that for the below one. So I'm selecting the whole. Let me select one single letter for now. Chalo. And then I'm going for changing the border colors. So I'll make the line color as blue. I'll say I want and all border impact. Rest of the things are fine. So I'm just reusing this formatting for my other parts. That's easy, I guess. What I'll do is I'll copy, I'll highlight the range, I'll go for Control Alt V, T, and OK. Other than that, I'll just change the dates with Control Shift 3, if you remember, and salary with Control Shift 4 to get the dollar impact. And that's an easiest way for you to get the formatting. Now, just a bit more on the Format Painter part. If I select a cell, click on Format Painter and then apply that formatting to some other cell, no doubt that cell will get the format, but then the impact of formatting will get deactivated once you click. Maybe sometimes you want to continue that impact. So you can just double click at Format Painter and then just keep clicking on the random cell you want to reuse that format. So a single click event will deactivate your Format Painters once you have done applying, but a double click event will keep your Format Painter active unless you press an escape button. The moment you say escape, the feature is disabled. The other thing, I might have given a lot of formatting and then I want to remove all the formattings. But then there are some texts. So I want to keep my text as it is, but just remove the format. So what can I do in that case? I can just select the data, go for my editing group where I can see an option of clear. If I say clear all, the whole data of that region will be removed. But then nothing will shift, neither to the left nor above, but does remove the contents from there. I'll say Control Z for this. Again in the editing group, when I go for clear, I can see an option of clear the formats. So this will remove the formatting and bring me back to Calibri 11, the default one with black and white color. Or let me just say Control Z to this also. Again in the editing, if I go for clear, it says clear the contents. This helps me to keep the formats as it is, but then remove the contents from there. So you choose whether you want to keep or you want to remove. Accordingly, either Format Painter will be helpful or the clear panel will be good for you. Choose a one, and even that paste special one, that is Control Alt V T, will be a good one when you want to copy paste the formats. Other than copying and pasting these formats, you may sometimes want to change the alignments. So let's explore that part of alignments now. On the alignment screen, if you check, this is the window I'm trying to generate. Though I have few of the inputs with me, but then I'm just trying to add the headers on the top. Now, how do I do that? The first thing I need to do is add a row to this. Now to add a row, you can highlight a row like this, right click, and then you can say insert. That allows you to insert a row. Right click on the row, say insert, and a row will insert it. Likewise, if you want to insert a column, right click and say insert, and a column is inserted. Right click, say insert, and a column is inserted. If you want to delete, right click, say delete, the column is erased. Right click, delete, the column is erased. Right click, delete, and the row is erased. But then again, if you wish to go with your keyboard, how can you do that? It's a simple. Whenever you say Control Spacebar, it allows you to highlight a column. And when you say Shift and Spacebar, it allows you to highlight a row. So if you want to insert a column before B, keep your cursor at B and say Control Spacebar and then Control plus. Control plus, Control plus, that allows you to insert a column. Control minus, Control minus, Control minus will allow you to remove the column. If suppose I want to insert a row after one, what I'll do is I'll first say Shift and Spacebar. Why? Because Shift and Spacebar is a shortcut key to highlight a row. And then Control plus, Control plus, Control plus will allow me to insert a row. Control minus, minus, minus will allow me to delete the row. If you don't highlight the row like Shift and Spacebar, you didn't press that, and you just say Control plus, that's also fine, because this will open a dialog box with would you like to shift this cell to the right side? So just the contents are moving to the right side. If you say move the cell down, the contents of this will move down. If you say Control plus, I'm just saying Control Z after it. If you say entire row, a row is inserted. Control plus, you say entire column and a column is inserted. Likewise, Control minus, Entire column will allow you to delete the column. Control minus entire row will allow you to delete the row. You can even go for the shortcut keys like Control plus R because entire row R is underlined. So that helps me to do a row insertion. Control plus R. Okay. Press Control and the plus key and then say R and OK. Same way, Control plus key C and OK will allow you to insert a column. And the same thing, Control minus C, enter. Control minus C, enter. Control minus R, enter. Control minus R, enter. I guess you have understood how to insert rows and delete rows, or how to insert columns and delete columns. Now I have one row finally on the screen. I hope even you have adjusted it in the same way. Just check the structure. What I want is, I would like to give a title over here that this is my employee info. So I'm writing that text, employee information. Now what I want is, I want this employee information to be at the center because it cannot be on the corner. So if I want to bring it at the center, select the data, go to the home tab, go for your number part, and you can see an option of changing the alignments over there. So if you just open the drop down of this merge and center, you can just see merge and center, merge across, merge cell and unmerge cell. So I'm going for this merge and center, and that comes at the center for me. I'll repeat what I did. My text was over here at the corner at A1, but then I was willing to bring it at the center of this 4 columns. Go for merge and center, click, and that's it. What's the difference between merge and center and merge across? Merge across will just merge but keep the alignments to the left. Later on you can bring it to the right or at the center, that's your call. Or merge center will always bring it at the center. That's a simple logic. The second thing I can do is just giving you an example of merge across. Suppose this is my data, and now I want to merge this for 3 different columns. Now I cannot go and say merge and center. When you do that, only the first content will be there, rest all your contents will get merged, will get removed. That was not what I was looking for. Something like this, merge and center, merge and center, merge and center. But then I can't sit and do it individually for each. And in this case, merge and across will be a very good option. Merge across will merge each row of yours. I hope you got the point. Yeah. After merging, I can just go for the simple logic as go and give some background color, go and change the text color, make it bold, give the borders for the below datas, and here you go. So that's how formatting and the alignment part can be handled very smoothly with the help of these 2 simple groups, font and alignments. Under the editing, the option of clear formatting is a good one when you just don't want any of the formatting. And the format painter single and double click event is again a useful one. A detailing on how to format, how to write your contents, and how to change the alignments. Time to move for understanding how do we write formulas in Excel, because that's the place where the maximum work of Excel is done. Let's explore this. So, how do we utilize our formulas for simple calculations? Well, I can say that 90% of the Excel spreadsheets will use at least one common formula, that is sum, to calculate the totals. But then, yes, Excel is full of lots of formulas where we'll just start with using some simple formulas like average, minimum, maximum, along with obviously sum. Now, what is average going to do for us? It will just help us to calculate the mean from the data set we have passed. Minimum function and maximum function will help you to get the highest or the lowest value from your data. But then other than that, there are a few more formulas like count, count blank, which helps you to analyze your data and find out the number of records you have in your values. Now the logic is, when do I use these formulas? Definitely, no doubt, when you have a huge data set and you want to summarize your data set, you want to spot the trends in your data, the missing values in your data, the outliners in your data. At all those times, this few basic formulas to start with will be a good option for you. Let's have a look onto the Excel window. So we are working on the sheet called as Basic Statistics Unsolved. I had given you 2 sheets. One is Basic Statistics Solved and the other one is Unsolved. Solved one is holding up formulas for you, which you can use for future reference. For now, you're working on the unsolved area. Let us start with reading the data set. So what we have is, we have columns like name of our employees, followed by the department in which they are working, then the state to which they belong, the working hours, and the refreshment expenses we did on them. Now, on this employees, with respect to the data is given, on the right side, we are just trying to generate some summaries. The first one is, I really want to know how many records are there where the working hours are given. Because if I focus carefully, not every value is available. There are few values where it says not applicable, that means working hours are not applicable to that employee, or few values where the records are actually missing, they don't have the contents. So I want to calculate only the places where the working hours are given. And for that, one option for me may be, I can highlight the column, go for the title, go for the status bar, and I can see the count, which says for me right now as 32. So maybe it looked like 32 will be the answer and I can go and write that. But then we don't know if that was correct or not. And anyways, it was a manually check-in report. So if the data change, this won't change. We always want our reports to be dynamic, our reports to change as the values are changing. So how do I get that? How do I calculate the number of records I'm having? The first thing you need to understand is, any Excel formula you write will be starting with an equals to sign. After equals to, let me just change the color maybe. I believe that it may not be a readable one for you. I'll just go with a lighter color format. So I'll be writing a formula, not work even this one, because the text color is not good. So let me just change the text color also for this to a black one. Now that's perfect. Any formula you write in Excel will start with an equals to sign. After equals to, what are you doing is, you're willing to do the counting. And for counting, you have a formula called as count, a simple formula as count. Now I can go and say count, open the bracket. Now it is asking me for the values. When it is asking me for the values, I can go and pass the cell addresses with the help of my mouse. I'm doing the first one with the mouse with a very basic way, and slowly we'll see the technique of how to select the data and complete the process. So for now, I'm clicking at D2, and with the help of my mouse, I'm just highlighting the range and hitting an enter key. Now that gives me the count as 28, helping me to know that there are total 28 records where the working hours are given. Point to be noted over here is that it will count only the numerical entries for you. So that's the reason you're not getting 32, because 32 was considering this not applicable text also. Okay. Now the next report I want to know is, count the records having refreshment expenses info. Again, the refreshment expenses, few values are available and few are missing. So I have to manage accordingly. I'm writing my formula as count. Now this time I'm doing a different way of writing. Always remember, when you say equals to and write some characters of a formula, they'll get displayed with the filter pop-up menu. If you're good with checking that formula which you want, just highlight the formula and then hit a tab button. What's the benefit? This will help you to auto complete your formula with an opening bracket also. So you don't need to even give those brackets. A tab button will help you to auto complete. Now I need to go and pass the values. How do I pass the values? I need to go to my refreshment expenses column, and then I can pass the values. For me to reach to that refreshment expenses again, I have multiple ways, but then I'm going with the one which I feel will be good. That is, I'm saying control home. Why control home? Because control home will take me to the start of my cell A1. And then I can go with the right arrow keys to come to refreshment expenses, that is column E, one down arrow key to come to E2, and then I can press shift and down arrow keys to complete my selection. Enter, and it says I'm having 27 records where the refreshment expenses are given. So 28 records where our working hours details are available, and 27 where the refreshment expenses are given. The third report I want to know is, okay, if they are available, how many records are missing? Because then I want to see the report about how many records are still to be feed up. So I'm saying equals to, again COU, but I'm not completing the formula. Once I get the pop-up, for this the formula will be count blank. So I'm highlighting that formula count blank and I'm hitting a tab button. After highlighting and hitting a tab button, the formula is completed and an opening bracket is there. Now I need to go to my refreshment expenses. My next technique will be to go to that particular cell. In case if you know the cell address, you can even say Control G. Control G will open a dialog box for you called as Go to dialog box. Control G, G for Go to dialog box. And if I know the cell address, as I said you before, I can write the cell address over there as E2 and say OK. So when I'm within the formula, I'm just quickly navigating to that place. I'm just giving you the options. You choose the one you feel will be a good one. Now after E2, I need to select this data. In the previous case, I went with shift and down. But then when I have 1000 records, I cannot go with shift and down. So what I'll do is, I'm going to say control shift and down arrow keys. But then yes, no doubt, your cursor will stop in between as you have lots of missing records. So don't get frustrated for now. Just keep pressing control shift down, down, down. Complete your selection. Once you're done, hit an enter key and you'll get your answer. So it says 5 records are there which are missing the refreshment values. I want you to give try along with me so that you're good with how to write the formulas, how to use the tab button and how to go to the cell. I'm trying the next one. Before you move ahead, maybe you can give a try at your end. For this one, count the number of employees you have. Give a try and then check further. Did you got the answer for that? How many number of employees do we have? Maybe we thought that count will help. So we set count. From here, I need to go to the first column. So control home will be good. Down arrow keys to come to A2. And this time, control shift down will simply work because I don't have any blank cell in between. After control shift down, when I say enter, I'm getting 0. Looks like I've written the correct formula. Remember guys, don't get confused that how come column K is showing you the formulas, or maybe for few of you it is not even showing you the formulas. Not to worry on that part. Here I have written some formulas which are available in 365 to show the formulas written at column I. If you are getting them, well and good. If you are not, that's also fine. Ignore that for now. That was just to show you the formulas written. Okay. Now let's come to the point as why we are getting 0. If you remember, when you were writing count, I had used the term, it is counting numerical values. You guessed that, I guess. So since the name column is a text, it won't count. Then how do I write a count formula for this one? I am going to say count A, which indicates count all alphanumerical data, numbers as well as text. Now I'm saying control home. Taking my cursor to A2, I'm saying control shift down. Enter. And you can see now it says you have overall 32 number of records. So out of 32, 5 records are missing the refreshment expenses. That's the whole summarization I can see on the screen now. The next one is, what is the average of the expenses I did on the employees? I want to know average expenses done. And I can go for a simple formula. My bad. I can go for a simple formula called as average. I'm again hitting a tab button, not writing the whole formula. I'll use control home to go to my first cell, that is A1. Right arrow keys to come to refreshment expenses. Coming to E2. Now this time again listen carefully. I'm saying control shift down, but then I'm keeping it pressed. Control shift down, down, down. Worst scenario, what will happen? It will go to the end. But then that's fine. I can say control shift up again. Correct? I'll repeat that one. You will be saying equals to average. Hit the tab button after highlighting. Say control home. Control right arrow keys so that you can come to refreshment expenses. Come to E2 and keep your control shift and down pressed. Don't leave control shift down. Once you are reached to the last row, it's okay you press control shift up again. Anyways, it will stop at the records for you and you'll get the result. Correct? Give a try for this one. Now my problem is, though I got the answer, but the answer is coming in decimal and I don't want the decimals. Remember, to remove decimals, I have shown you this. You can go to the home tab and you can say increase or decrease the decimal, but don't do that for now. Why? Because using this feature will just hide the decimals from the screen. but then internally they are still stored. So the number will be always 655.4074074. I want to remove the decimal parts permanently so that even in future if I'm referring to this, it won't show the decimal values to me. And to do that, I will be using a function called as round. So I'm writing the formula once again. See, I'm not deleting average. I'm just starting with my formula directly. Otherwise, what we generally do is if we want to erase the formula and write a new one, we do delete it. No, you don't need to delete. Just start typing, it will override your formula. I'm saying equals to round. When you're learning Excel, one thing which you need to consider is reading of the arguments. So it is asking me for the number and the number of digits. Every formula will have certain arguments, certain parameters. Read them. Now, number. What should I pass to round? I don't have any number because my number was dependent on whom? My number was dependent on the result of average. So no worries, I'll write my average formula inside the round. That will also work. That's the beauty of Excel, that you can nest your formula, one formula within the other, and that's how you can calculate the complex results easily. Now after this, I'll say control home, control right, coming to E2, I'm pressing control shift down, keeping it pressed. Once I'm at the end, I'll say control shift up. Now one care you need to take over here is remember to close the bracket of round. Sorry, remember to close the bracket of average because you're done with your average. After the closing bracket of average, give comma, and now you can see you are at the next parameter called as number of digits, where if I say 4, that means I'm indicating I want 4 decimals. If I make that as 2, I'm indicating I want 2 decimals. If I make that as 1, I want single digit. And if I make that as 0, that means I don't want any decimals. Now if I use this number for the further calculations also, it will be 655 only. So it's your call. Hide it from the screen if that is okay for you. To remove the decimals permanently, go for rounding. My next task is I want to know what is the highest expenses done by me. And to get that highest expenses, I can use a function called as max. Navigating to column T, pressing Control Shift down, Control Shift up, enter. And it says the highest, oops, sorry, it was highest expenses. So my bad. Let me write that as max once again. Control home, Control right arrow keys. I'm coming to column E and I'm selecting the range. So the highest maximum expenses I did was 1176. That was the largest value of my data. Likewise, I want to know the lowest working hours I'm having. And for that, I can write a formula called as min. I'm just passing the address of my working hours. Now you know that well how to write that. So the lowest working hours I was having was 35. Highest expenses done is 1176. Total number of the employees I'm having is 32, out of which 5 employees don't have the refreshment expenses detail yet. Yeah, I hope you have understood how to write all those calculations very smoothly. The last one which is missing is I want to know the total expenses done. Finding out that, I'll be writing a sum formula. I'm passing the refreshment expenses column to get that sum, and I'll just quickly copy the formatting on this, and it says the total expenses we did on our employee is 17696. I can just copy the above formula down to get the formula result on the screen. I hope guys this basic introduction how to write your formulas, how to use your keys smartly, the tap button concept, the reading of the argument concept, the rounding impacts, everything is quite clear to you. Yeah, we have a lot more formulas to come up, but then once you are done with this try, then only move ahead. Now our next part is to understand how to write the text functions over here, which will help you to clean your data. Also, we'll be exploring the part of date functions. Now when I say text functions, what does that mean? There are few text formulas which will help you to manipulate your text. Like I can go for left, right or mid formulas to just pull a particular character from the data, from the left side, from the start of the cell, from the end of the cell, or even from the middle of the string. Likewise, sometimes maybe I have a particular column which is expected to be of specific number of characters. For an example, maybe a column about contact numbers, PAN numbers, where I know that the number of characters should be 10. But then, while feeding the info, somebody may have written an incorrect values over there. So with the help of length formulas, I can easily check the number of characters and validate whether the contents are right or not. I can also use some simple formulas to split the datas, to convert them into incorrect pattern, and even sometimes to combine them. So splitting is also possible, and then along with that, you can even combine your datas to get the perfect look. Like we said, there are few date formulas also. So an amazing formula like today or even the one called as now are used to get the current value. This will keep on changing as you click somewhere or just you refresh your worksheet. So let's explore both of this contents. I'm onto my Excel window. We are working on the sheet named as text functions unsolved. Like we have text functions solved with us where all the formulas are written for your reference, but then you'll be working on the unsolved area. If I check for the contents given to me, I have the details of the students. So their code, the title, their first name, middle name, last name, and the total score they made. My target is to find out, maybe let's start with the first one as generating the full name. From this first name, middle name, and last name, for my reporting, I would like to get the student full name. And to get that, I have a formula called as concatenate. As we learned before, just highlight the formula and hit a tab button because you may make a spell mistake, especially in this case. When I write concatenate and I hit a tab button, I can see the arguments as text 1, text 2, text 3. So I'm saying my text 1 is first name, comma, text 2 is middle name, comma, text 3 is last name. The moment I hit an enter key, I can see that it had allowed me to combine the data. But then, yes, you guess it right. What is going wrong in this case? It is allowing me to combine the data, but when I say I'm creating a full name, I need a separator in between. Otherwise, then generating that full name will really not make sense to me. So now how can I generate that space? Well, for that, you will have to write the space character in your concatenate itself. How? I'm again writing the formula. So equals to concatenate. My text one is C2, where I have my first name. Then comma. At the part of text 2, I actually need a space. So I'll go with double quotes, a space bar, and complete the double quotes. Just make sure you don't go for single apostrophe. That won't work. It has to be a double quote. Then comma, I can call it as an inverted mark. Comma. Now my cursor is at text 3. What is my text 3? That is middle name. So I'm passing that address. Again comma. Now I need to pass what? Text 4. So in double quotes, I'm again pressing a space bar, completing the double quotes, giving a comma, and I'm passing the last name. Enter, and you can see I got the perfect output. So it helps me to know the first name, middle name, and last name, generating that as a full name for me. I'm taking the cursor to the corner, just simply double click, and that formula will get dragged down for you. So you don't need to, drag your formulas like this, which I have shown you at the time of fill handle. You can take the cursor to the corner and simply double click. That double click event will auto fill your formula down. Like you did it for full name, let's say you want to generate the mail IDs for your students, and it will be their first name dot their last name at the rate, let's say I want to go for LetsUpgrade.com. So how do I do that? I know I can use concatenate, but then I'm showing you one more alternative, which is ampersand symbol. So I'm saying equals to, it's like you can use plus operator for sum. In the same way for concatenate, you can use this ampersand operator. So I'm saying equals to, take the first name and I need a space. So I'll say double quotes and I want the last name now. Correct? First name. Okay, since I'm generating mail IDs, let me go with a dot over here. So it will be first name dot last name. That's perfect. Now what I want is, I want this result to be connected with my at the rate letsupgrade.com. So I'll again say ampersand in double quotes at the rate letsupgrade.com. Oops, double quotes complete, enter. And I'll get the result. But the next thing which is missing is, if I'm writing the mail IDs, I may prefer to go for small letters. Everything should be in small letters. And for that, again in Excel, you have a function called as lower. So when I say lower and I hit an enter key, all the contents written ahead will be converted into small letters. Let me drag this down and I'm auto fitting that, and I can see that one single formula had helped me to generate the mail IDs for all the students I'm having. Let me hide these two columns as I'm done with this task. I'm hiding them. To hide any column, you can simply say control and round closing bracket. Control and 0 you can say, or a round closing bracket will allow you to hide the data. The next task I want is, I have a code column. From that code column of the student, I want to get H over here, G underscore E over here, and then 1289 over here. I just want to split that into multiple text now. How do I do that splitting? I cannot go and write for each of the value I have. That will be quite challenging task, and we may make a mistake also. So you can use formulas like left, where the first argument is text and then the number of characters. The task is quite simple. From any particular cell, from the leftmost side, it will allow you to fetch certain number of characters. So I'm saying from the left side, help me in getting one character. And you can see I'm getting one character from the left side. In the same manner, I can write a function called as mid. As the name says, this formula will allow you to fetch something from the middle of your data. So it is asking me for the text. I'm passing the text num. Now what is the meaning of start num? So in this case, H is my first character, underscore becomes my second character, and then G is my third character. So what I'll say, from the third place you start fetching the data. And then if I give comma, I'm on the third argument which says number of characters you want. If I want only one single character, I can say 1 and enter, and it helps me to get one character. If I write 2, it indicates from the third position get 2 characters. And if I write 3, that indicates get me 3 characters from the leftmost side. That helped me to get my middle part. Now I want from the right side or from the end of the data, I want to get 4 numbers, let's say. So I'm going to use a formula called as right, passing the cell address, and I'm saying get me 4 characters from the right side. And you can see this left, mid and right formulas had helped me to fetch the required number of contents from the data sets. Now maybe I have a code column and at few places the codes are not correct. I don't know. So I want to see the length. I know the length will be, I guess, 9. So if the length is 9, it seems to be okay. Otherwise, there is some problem. So how do I count the number of characters for a cell? I'll say length and I'm passing the address. What that 9 is indicating? 9 is indicating the number of characters you have in a cell. So for an example, somebody did a mistake of writing incorrect number of characters or had given few space bar at the start or at the end, you'll be able to see the change in the address. Now it says 9, 8, 11, 10, and so on. So wherever it is 9, I can say that the data is correct. Wherever it is 11 or something else other than 9, I can say that that data need to be checked again. That's how this simple technique of text formulas can help you to, check your contents or break them or even combine them. Correct? Concatenated to combine, left, mid, and right to break the data, length to just find out the number of characters in a particular cell. Go ahead, give a try, and then we'll explore the concept of date functions. Hope you must have done checking those text functionalities, right? Let's move for the date functions now. Again, the date function is holding two sheets. One is solved and the other one is unsolved. Let's come to the unsolved one. What do we have in date functions now? It's look like a simple thing. I mean, what is there to work on date? But then there are lots of features inside the date, and many times we'll be playing with date in Excel, maybe from the HR field, maybe from the production field, or maybe even from the sales. You always have to go for writing up dates. So one simple formula, which I said was a live formula. What is that? It is called as in today functionality. What this today formula will do for you? It will help you to get current date. Remember, you don't need any arguments. You just say today, open and close the brackets, and it helps you to get the date, current date. Remember, the current date means the date which is set for your laptop, and the pattern will also be as per your laptop setting. So in case if you are getting a different date, it is representing the dates which you have on your laptop at the current time. In some scenarios, maybe I want to get date and time both. For that, I can use a formula called as now. What now will do? It allows me to get date and time both. Again, this will be dynamic. As the clock change, this timing will keep on updating. If you want to get a date, and that may be a static date, I'm creating up a report for today and I don't want to change that tomorrow. So you can simply go for control and colon as in shortcut key. Control plus this key will allow you to get the date within shortcut key, I can say. Likewise, if you press control shift, then you'll get the current time. But then this two will be what? These two are static data. The above two were dynamic, these two are static values for you. Sometimes if you are working on different zones, so few of the zone may have the pattern of writing dates as year, month and date. We may be having a pattern as date, month and year, or somebody may be having month, date and year. Everyone have different time zones, have their own way of writing dates. So if you're going to create a report which may be shared to the other zone, you can even go for a function called as date, so that it is asking you for a specific sequence of arguments and you pass them accordingly. So if I want to write the year, I'll say 2026. If I want to write the month, I'll say the month is 1, and to get the day, I'll say it is 28th, let's say. Enter, and I got the same date. But then the impact is, if you have your system been set as year, month and date, the same date will appear correctly. Now why does that matter? If suppose you have a pattern of month at the start, date in the middle, and then year towards the end, then if I write that pattern in my system, I'll get the dates, but then these dates are aligned to the left side. We have checked this, that the alignments of dates should not be onto the left, but it should be onto the right. Why it is going to the left? Because it is checking for 20th as a month, which won't work for my system. Maybe working for you. That's the reason going with this date function can be sometimes a good option for you. Now, suppose if you have a date, and from that date, you just want to get the different parts of the date. What you can do is you can use the formula as equals to day, pass the cell address of a date value, and it helps you to know the date. Like it says 28 for me right now. In the same manner, if I want to get the month, I can write a simple formula as month and I can say, get me month of this date. If I want to get the year, I can say, help me with getting year of this date. And if I want to know the weekday, I can say, help me with getting the weekday. The logic of weekday will be, it will treat Sunday as 1, Monday as 2, Tuesday as 3 and Wednesday as 4. And that's the numbers you are getting on the screen. So today now, along with this date, month, year and weekday will help you to fetch multiple parameters from the date. Now the other scenario may be, I'm getting a weekday over here, but the phone number is not that clear to me. So if I can get it as Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or instead of month as 1, if I can get January, February, March, that will be more better. So if you have dates and you want to fetch particular patterns from the date, then what you can do is you can use a function called as text. Text formula will allow you to get the patterns of the date as per your request. So the arguments if I read are values and the format you're looking for. Value will be nothing but the data which you're searching, and format is in what way you want to get it. So if I write D, just D in double quotes and enter, it says 28. That means it is helping me to know the date. I'm just changing the date to show you. Like if it is written D, what I'm getting is 1. If I write the same formula, but then instead of single D, I write D twice, what I'll be getting is 0, 1. Why 0, 1? It will give 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 9 and then 10, 11, 12. If I do the same thing with 3 times D, what I'll be getting is, I'll get the weekday name, Wednesday, WED. But then it is coming as WED. If I want it to be as proper Wednesday, I can write D 4 times. So you writing D 1, 2, 3, 4 times is just changing up the way you want to get the data. I can apply the same logic even for getting months. So if I write M1, I'll get 1. If I write M twice, I'll get 0, 1. If I write M thrice, I'll get January. And if I write M 4 times, I'll get proper either JN or January. And the same logic is definitely true for even your years. So if you write year, but then in year case, if you write Y once, then also you'll get 26. If you write it twice, then also you'll get 26. If you write Y thrice, you will get 2026. If you write Y 4 times, then also you'll get 2026, because we don't treat years with single digit or 3 digits. We either use 2 digits or 4 digits. So That's why you will be getting the same patterns. Now the point is, you can just combine all of this logic together to get your own custom pattern of the date. For an example, if you see the pattern over here, let's try to fetch that pattern. I'm saying equals to text. What's the first argument of text? Your value. So I'm passing this value. Format of the text, what I want Wednesday at the start. So in double quotes, I'm writing D 4 times. Then I'm giving a comma because I want that. And then I want a space. So I'm giving that too. Now I want the month name. So I'm writing M 4 times to get the month name. I'm giving a space and writing D twice to get that 28. And then comma, I'm writing for year, I'm writing Y, 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 Y. So in whatever pattern you want, just combine all your logic and you'll get the particular way of a date writing. Maybe before the date starts, you want to write a text as start date or today's date is. In that case, I can write equals to, in double quotes, I can write the text on the invoice maybe as today's date is or invoice date is colon hyphen and double quotes complete. Anything I write in double quotes will get displayed as it is. Agree? But then what you want to combine that with the other formula. We just now checked in text functions how to connect two things. What I can do is, that's correct. What you can do, you can use ampersand symbol to connect. Now after ampersand, what I'll say is, I'll say get me the text. Text of what? Text of this date and then comma. I can write down my format as maybe I want month, then I want date, then I want comma, and then I want my year. And see, I got that pattern. Just remember, like I've wrote over here 825, which is nothing but the cell address, I can even go for writing my today formula inside the function so that it will be always dynamic. So when you open this file tomorrow or day after, you'll be able to see the changes in the dates. So as per whatever you have chosen today's date, you will be able to see those impacts. I hope you have got a good understanding on how the date formulas will be working for you. Before you move ahead, just give one try for all of these patterns with your own combinations which you wish and then go for the next part. Time to move for the next topic, and here we are going to explore the essential formulas which are very helpful when you want to handle a large volume of data. The first one we'll be exploring is a if function, which is generally used for logical conditioning. What you can do over here is you can evaluate a particular condition and it will return true part if the condition is okay and will return the false part if the condition is not okay. You can even support multiple branches over here, that is nesting your formulas with each other. It just needs three arguments, your logical test, value if true and value if false. So if you want to add more criterias, you can add one more if within that true or the false part depending on the requirements you have. I can say that 60% of the financial modelings will be dependent on this if. If I say like I want to simply know whether the discount is to be given or not, whether the particular person, if I'm from the HR background, whether he is eligible for the interview or not, whether he have cleared the interview or not, or if I'm into in production part, I can just check if I have a stock or not. If I'm into in sales, then accordingly I can just use that if function with multiple types of criterias and can take my multiple actions. At the action parts, you can write a text also, you can write your formulas also, or you can just go for keeping it as number part. Just remember one tip over here, that if it is like it is becoming too complex with nested if, and if it is supported in your case, you can even switch for IFS, which is a more readable functionality. Let us explore this first. So I'm onto my Excel window where the sheet name is logical unsolved. As you know, the solved one is an executed file for you. You'll be working on unsolved along with me. What I have, I'm still working on the same score data of my students where I have code, title, first name, middle name, last name, and the score they made. The very first thing as a trainer I would like to find out is based on their score result whether they have cleared the exam or not. So very simple text like pass or fail. The students will be declared as pass if they have scored more than 200, otherwise they are fail. So one option for me is like I can read over here the numbers and then accordingly I can just write pass, 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 and then fail, and so on. Agree? That is one of my option. But then I am working on some 150 records. I cannot do this manually. Even though I somehow manage to do it right now, if I have more number of records, it becomes challenging and it's very static also. And since I'm typing, I may make a typo mistake. So if you go with the formula, you're damn sure you're writing the correct one. No doubt the logic of formula you should be clear with. So my formula will be equals to if. As I had shown you, if will need three arguments: your logical test, your value if true, and then value if false. In my case, my logical test is that the score should be always greater than, score should be what? It should be greater than 200. That's a sign of greater than. Now, comma. My cursor had moved to value of true. So that means what I would like to do if it is greater than 200. I'm going to say, okay, in that case, you declare him as pass. Again, pass is the text, so remember to enclose that in double quotes. Comma. Now I'm at the false part. What I want is to fail. So that too is a text, so I'll write that in double quotes, fail, complete the double quotes, bracket, and enter. And you can see the result as pass. Take the cursor to the corner, drag it down, and you can see the same text which you were writing manually are now been done automatically for you. And you know who have cleared the exam and who had failed the examination. Correct? That was an easy one, I guess. You can go ahead and give one try. The next one is I'm working on column H. I want to find out the grade. Okay, pass and fail was a good one, but then I want to give grading. And for that grading, onto the right side, I have my own criterias. What does the criteria says? If the person had scored between 0 to 200, then for sure he had failed the examination. But then if the score is between 102 to 300, give him grade C. 300 to 400, grade B. 401 to 500, grade A. So now I want to give the grading to my students with respect to the score they had made. How do I give those grade impacts? Look carefully on the screen. I'll start with if. My first logical test is if the person had scored less than 200, then he had failed the examination. Correct? So I'll say take the score which is written at F2 and see if it is less than equals to 200. Now that's how I can write less than equals to both. So if it is less than equals to 200, I would like to write a text called as fail. Now that's my true part this time. I am writing fail at the start. Comma. That also means you can go for greater than 400 and say grade A, or you can say less than 200 and say fail. It's your call. Comma. Now where I am at value if false. What would I like to do if the statement is not okay, if it is not less than 200? Then my target is to check, is it between 200 to 300? Correct? So I want to do more tasting. To do more tasting, you'll write more if. Simple logic. Wherever it's like more criteria is to be checked and then the action is to be taken, criteria is to be checked and the action is to be taken, simply keep on nesting them. Now in this if, my first part is logical test again. My logical test is it should be between 200 to 300. But then technically if I give a thought, my cursor will come to this if, which is nothing but the false part of the first if. Only when the first argument went wrong, it went false. So if it went false, that means the data is greater than 200 because the condition was if it is less than 200, you say fail. If not, then only you move ahead. So if not means the data is greater than 200. So I don't need to check whether it is greater than 200. I can simply say take F2 and compare that with 300. If it is less than equals to 300, get me the grade as C. Correct? Double quotes complete. Comma. Where I am now? I am at value if false. What I want now? I want to do more tasting. So I'll write more if. I'll say if F2 is less than equals to, like we did before, we'll now check if it is less than equals to 400. Then what we want? We want it to be as grade B in double quotes. Now my cursor coming to this value false part is nothing but an indicator that the data is greater than 400. And I can see that the maximum number we can write over here is still 500 only. Those are scores. So they will be ranging between 0 to 500. So when the cursor comes to this false part, it is an indicator that the data is greater than 400. So I don't need to check it again. I can just simply say grade A. correct? And the one more important parameter over here, or the part over here, is closing of the brackets. If you by mistake close your bracket at the first if true part only, what will happen? Your cursor won't go to the next if part to check. You're nesting your formulas. So when you're trying to nest the formulas, what you should do is close all your brackets towards the end. You don't need to count them, just pay attention to the color. Always the closing bracket, the last one, will be of black color. So keep closing till the time you get the black color. Hit an enter key and you can see the great result. Also, if you don't close the bracket and just say enter, that's also work, because Excel will just say that I'm correcting it. Would you like to do? I'll say yes. And it has done. Now I'm taking the cursor to the corner, dragging it down, and I can see the perfect results for me. Grade A, B, C, and fail. Yeah? This is called as nested if, where you can have 64 nested if like this. Like we have written only two nested if, you can have 64 nested if. Fair enough for us, BVR at any scenarios. I just believe we should never come across the scene where more than 10 criteria are to be given, because it will become too complex for us. Now, if you remember at the start, I said that I'm using 365. So as you keep on upgrading the versions of Excel, you will get some amazing formulas, obviously. So IFS is again one of that amazing functionality. It is nothing but a substitute for your if. The nested if which I have written before, I can write the same formula with the help of IFS also. Now, how do I write that? I'll say logical test is nothing but the score. And I'm going to say check that should be less than equals to 200. Then comma, I am at value of true part, where what I can do is I can say show me fail and so on, that you can continue. But then I just gave a thought over here for one more thing, that can I just pass the cell address of 200 instead of writing it manually so that it becomes faster for me? And the answer is yes, you can do that. I'll give comma, value of 2, I'll again pass the cell address. Again comma, I'm at logical test number 2. I'll say you check F2 should be less than equals to what? 300. With that, it becomes more easier for me to write down my formulas. I'm just saying keep checking for F2 with less than 400, then get me grade B. The only difference over here you can see is logical test number 4. So you'll have to write your criteria for the last one also, whereas in the case of nested if you had an option of false. Here you don't have that. So you'll have to check that one more condition, that the data should be less than equals to 500. In that case, you can say grade A. Enter, and you're getting the same answer. Though if I try to drag this formula down, I am getting the correct answers only for the first and the second maybe. Below that, all the answers are going incorrect, or they are just going as not applicable. This is one of the concept of Excel which again plays a very important role, and you should understand it. What's the concept? You wrote the formula saying check F2 should be less than equals, then you want N6, then you said M7, N7 and so on. But then as you copy any formula down, you can see the cursor of M7 is, sorry, F3 had moved down to F4, F5, F6, F7 and so on. So as you copy any formula down, the addresses are changing. But then this change is fine for us, but then the table is also moving down. I guess you can see that over here very quickly. What is happening? The cursor should be at 200, it should be at fail, but then it is moving down. So I don't want that movement. I want my cell to get stuck over there. It should be frozen over there. It should get freezed, right? How do I do that? It's again a simple one. You just need to take the cursor to the cell address which you want to lock, and give a dollar sign before the column name and a dollar sign before the row number. So I'm locking my M6 and even N6 because I don't want this two cell to move. I'll just do this much and show you the impact first. See, now if I go for the second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, can you see the difference? My cursor is stuck at 200 and fail because I just did it for M6 and N6, whereas the other values are still moving down. So you can lock your cell by converting the reference to absolute. Now you can give dollar sign before the column name and a dollar sign before the row number. That allows you to lock. But then giving the dollar sign manually also is quite challenging. So what you can do is you can use the function key F4 to lock. I'm saying F4. So when I say F4 function key, I can see that reference is changing to dollar. That is absolute. Maybe for you, when you press F4, it don't work. It didn't work for you. Why? Because for you, it will be function F4. For me, F4 works. For you, you need to check how your system is set for it. And then just take your cursor to every cell address of M and N and keep pressing that F4 key. Now after this, if you drag the formula down, you can see you're getting the same results as you have got for the previous one. If you go and activate any cell, you can see that this time the table is not moving down. It is stuck on those places. So this absolute referencing is really important when you're dragging your formulas. Now one more thing over here is, because you have passed the cell address, what is the benefit? I may in future go and make the grade as this is my fail, but then, or maybe I can say this as 4. And the moment I make a change in this table, I'm just giving them the ranking. What will happen is this will change. Whereas in the previous case, I'll have to go and edit my formula. That's the benefit of passing cell referencing in Excel. That if you pass the cell addresses, your formulas will get dragged down and will get updated as you change anything in the functionalities in the range. The last thing I want to calculate over here is what's the percentage. So out of 500, with respect to the score they made, I can calculate the percentage. So it will be nothing but F2 divided by 500. So this first one had score 78%. I'm just dragging it down to see the percentage of others too. Yeah, that's how the entire, I can say, report calculations can be done with the help of if, nested if, IFS, and the simple division concept. Yeah, go ahead, first give a try for this much, and then we'll explore about how can I highlight the pass and fail values so that I can easily recognize the grades separately. We'll check that afterwards. The next important part for the working on the report of pass and fail may be applying some conditional formattings on the data. So what is conditional formatting? Excel will allow you to change the look of a cell based on the rules you have set over there. So if the rules are satisfied, you'll get a particular color. If they are not, they'll remain as it is, like you have given the formats. The simplest example, I had pass and fail text. So wherever it is fail, I would like to highlight that with red color so that it's easy for me to check which particular student have failed the examination. Or maybe for grade A, I would like to go with a green color. So these features can be really done very smoothly with the help of conditional formatting. Other than that, what you also have over here is you can even highlight the top bottom rules. You can say you would like to see the performance of the top 10 candidates, their score, or you want to see the bottom score of 5 students maybe. Or if I talk about marketing or sales, you want to see the top 3 products which are selling good, or the places where you have generated a lot of loss, top 5 products, lowest 5 products where the loss was made. So you just analyze those things very smoothly over here with the help of conditional formatting. You can even go for color codes over here. You can go for your own symbols, and you can even go for your own custom formulas. So with the point of view of an analytical person, this highlighting impacts on the screen will really help to show the data, to showcase the values in a better way. Now the point is, what are the different types of conditional formatting I can give on my data? So I have 5 different options available. Highlight the cell rules where I can say greater than, less than, between, duplicates, or the text that contains. I can go for top and bottom values where I can say top 10, bottom 10, or above average, below average. I can go for data bars where just mini progressive bars will be drawn inside the cell, more or less like your bar chart, but they are made. I can go for color scales. You can call that as a heat map style where from red to yellow, green, you can just indicate certain colors. And then finally, you can go for icon sets where you can say arrows or traffic signals or stars as per the performance. That sounds very interesting, right? That, oh wow, we can give colors to our data with respect to the criteria, correct? Let's explore, but then how can we give this? I'm back to my Excel window. I'll use the same example window, the one which we were using for our if, and let's apply some conditional formatting on this. So if you just go for the logical functionalities which I have solved for you, you can see all those color impacts over here. So the score is helping me to know, okay, where the values are high or where they are low. Result highlighted pass values and the fail values, grade with different icons, and the percentage with the shades of green, they all are really helping me to understand my data better. Let's try that out. So I'll start with the total score. This is their total score, but then I would like to create those mini charts on the report itself. Let me just show the ribbon first. So I'm on the ribbon mode and I've highlighted my data. Make sure you don't keep your cursor on a single cell, but then you select the column. After selecting the column, go for your Home tab. In the Home tab, under the Styles group, Home tab, Style group, you will get an option of conditional formatting. Style group, and you'll get an option of conditional formatting. When you go to conditional formatting, you can see those 5 rules over here. Highlight the cell rule, top, bottom, data bars, color scales, and icon sets. Let's say I'm saying go for data bars. And what I want over here is I just want to simply create the bar charts over here. The size of the bar chart will help me to know the score details. So, higher the value is, larger will be the length of the bar, lower the value, smaller will be the length. That's a simple logic. But then, yes, that is really helping me to understand my data. Maybe you want to focus at the places where the person have scored more than 400. So you can go to conditional formatting, you can go for highlight the cell rules, and you can see highlight all the places wherever the data is greater than 400. And that was a good thing for you. So maybe you want to highlight that with a yellow field impact. So I'm having the green bars also, and those yellow highlighting impacts are helping me to know that they have scored more than 400. That also means that on particular column I can have multiple conditional formattings too. I can even go for the result column and I can say that wherever the result is fail, highlight that with a red color. How do I do that? I can select the column, go to conditional formatting, highlight the cell rule, and say whether text is equals to. Equals to what? I'll say fail. I'm keeping the color same, the default one. So wherever the text is fail, you can see it is getting highlighted quickly. Now that really helped me to understand my data. If you wish to highlight your past data, so you can again select, go to conditional formatting, say highlight the cell rule where the data is equals to pass. Maybe for pass, you will like to go for a green color. So say green and OK. Now you're getting both shades, green indicating pass, red indicating fail. That's a good indicator, correct? Let me take the third example. I want to go for the grading over here, but then would like to go for different colors for each. How do I do that? And this time I just want to change the text color. I don't want to give any background color. So maybe red color for fail, maybe green color for A grade. For B, I want a blue color. For C, I want an orange color. So I want to go for different colors of the text itself. Selecting the data, I'm going for conditional formatting, and I'm going for highlight the cell where the text is equals to again. Equals to, let's say we said fail, but then we don't want to go for that default color. So open the drop down and you can see an option of customize the format. When you go to customize the format, you'll get the same window which we have checked before called as control 1. Would you like to go for changing the font? Would you like to give some borders, or you want to change the background color, the field color? As I said, we want to focus on font now. So I'm saying make the font as red in this case. I'll make that as bold also and OK. So wherever the person had failed the examination, I'm highlighting that with red bold color. Again, I'm going for conditional formatting, highlight the cell rule. I'm saying equals to, I'm saying grade C this time. Opening the drop down, saying I want to customize the format, choosing the color maybe as orange and making that too as bold so that it's easily identified. So wherever the grade is C, they're now getting displayed in orange color. I'm again doing it. Let me do that quickly. Highlight the cell color, text is equals to grade B. I'm opening the drop down. I'm going for customize the format. Would like to change the color to blue in this case and a bold impact again and OK. Say OK. Go for conditional formatting. Highlight the cell rule. Data is equals to, I'll say grade A, and I'm changing up the color to customize. Make that as a green bold. OK and OK. And you can see you have just given different shades for each of the grade the person had scored. Now just imagine everything over here is dynamic. With that I mean, if I go and change the score, suppose that was in my typo mistake and the score was actually 430. So see, the moment I say 430, Everything is changing automatically for me. The grade A, and then the color also is getting aligned. That's the amazing thing. Otherwise, I could have done those colors A, B, C, D manually also. But then here the point is, if the value is changing, your data are changing accordingly. The next important thing which you may need to understand is, what if I want to change the color afterwards? Like I want to change that green color to a more darker one. How do I edit that? So select the datas, go to conditional formatting, and you can see an option of manage rules. When you go to manage rules, you will be able to see all the rules which you have set in the particular highlighted region. Select the one you want to modify, and you can say edit this rule. That's simple. At the edit window, check what you want. You want to change the grade or you want to change the format. I'm saying change the format. Make that as darker green. Okay, and okay, and okay. And you can see the color had changed to a darker green color. That's how you can modify. Or if you want to clear the rules, you can just go for clear rules and say clear the rules for the selected sheet or maybe for the entire sheets. And now I believe that you can go and explore this a bit more on what are the options available. Like if you go for highlight the cell rule, you have options as greater than, less than, between, equals to, text that contains a date occurring, or even a duplicate value. Now that's also a good one. Suppose if I have a code column and I want to highlight all the duplicate values over here. So I can go for highlighting the cell rule and I can see highlight all the duplicate records. So technically I was expecting every code of mine to be unique. But then I can see that there are few records which have the code repetitive, they are duplicates. That I can highlight very quickly. Let me work on the grade with IFS. Here I just have the grades with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I want is over the grade, I would like to go for some icon sets. So I'm going for the icon sets. I'm just choosing this icon. The moment I choose the icon, I can see, but then this is going in a reverse order. So let me say control. I'll have to modify this. Right now, what it is showing is charcoal color for 1, red color for 2, yellow for 3, and green with 4. But then my for me the grade should be in a reverse order. 4 should be with the charcoal color. So how I can do that? Highlight, go for manage rules. You'll be able to see the rule, select and say edit. At the edit screen, this is the logic which goes at the back side. So you can just go and say over here that you want to reverse the order. Just say reverse the order and okay, and you can see now one is for red, one is with green color, two is with yellow color, three is with that red, and the fourth one is with charcoal. And then you're free to choose your own symbols over here. If I have a percentage column and I want to highlight the percentage, I can go for conditional formatting, go for color scales, and I can use the color scales over here. You're free to go for red, yellow, and green shades. You're free to go for green, white, and red, blue, white, and red. It's your call. But then, as per the color impacts you have chosen, you can really highlight again very quickly who have scored the higher percentage and who have the least score in your data sets, right? I believe that that was an amazing one because it helps you to change the formattings and focus on the particular areas. And we have also checked how to remove or edit the existing formats. You can go ahead, give one try for this conditional formatting. Should work perfectly for you. Time to move for the next topic. Now we also need to understand how to, prevent an incorrect entry into a particular cell or a region. This is called as data validation. What is data validation? Data validation is where you'll be implementing some set of rules that in this particular column you can allow only this particular type of entries. If the person is doing a data entry and writes something which don't follow the rules, you can just throw up a error message on the screen. What you need to do is, the first thing is you need to choose the type of data validation you want to give, where you have options like you can restrict them to enter only whole numbers, decimals, date, time, or a specific text length. Once you're done with that, when you go for the next area, it will ask you for the limitations you want. Like you can say the minimum values should be, or they should be in between the range, or they should be always greater than, or maybe equals to sometimes. So you can set that limits or the range. The third thing you can do is you can even go for writing an input message to the user and an error alert to the user. So giving those input message and error alert will give a clear indicator to the user That's what you're expecting in that particular area. So giving a correct data validation will really help you to restrict the entries into a particular column. Let's try out that. So I'm onto the data validation screen. The sheet name is data validation. We are working on the same data, but then let's say the user will be writing score in this column F. So while he's writing the score, he may write the correct score, which works for me. But then sometimes he may write a text over there or a negative number over there, or maybe numbers which are more than 500 by mistake. I don't want these entries to be allowed. The entry should be always between 0 to 500 only. How do I restrict that? Step number one, select the range on which you want to give that restriction. Then go for your data tab. When you go to data tab, you can see an option over there called as data tools, where there is a feature called as data validation. Okay, select the data that plays an important role, because the area which you have chosen, on that range only the validation rules will be applied. Then go to data tab, data tools group, data validation. When you do so, you'll get a dialog box which is asking you, what setting would you like to give? I'll say that you can allow what? It says by default any value, but then you can change that to allow whole numbers only. You can say allow decimals only. You can say allow the list, allow dates, allow time. The length should be in between something, or you can even go for your own custom impacts. I'll say for this one as allow whole numbers. This is the number part, right? When I say whole number, it will ask you whole number should be what? It should be between something, not between. It should be equals to, not equals to, greater than, less than. Like in this case, I know it should be between. Between what? The least score may be 0 and the highest score may be 500. So I'm writing that between 0 to 500. The rule is applied. Now, how do I know? If I write the correct numbers, they all are getting accepted. But then if I try to write a text, you can see I'm getting a message that Microsoft Excel warning, this value does not match the validation restrictions defined for this cell. You can retry to write some different value now. Let me write as minus something, and it again says the same message. Let me write a number which is above the range, and it throws the same message to me. So text or numbers less than 0 or greater than 500 are not allowed in this range now. So I have restricted the entry in that region now. Likewise, I have a column of pass and fail. I know this result should be always pass and fail. If I'm going with the formulas, then the scenario is different. But then let's say if the user is going to write it manually, pass, fail, then I want to restrict it that it should be any of these two only. So I'm selecting the data, I'm going for data validation again, and I'm going to say you allow something from the list. And now the source is asking me what is your list. So in double quotes, I'm saying it may be pass or it may be fail. I've given both the options to the user. You can write pass, comma, you can write fail. Let's see if we get that. So if you see, I'm getting a drop down over here where both options are appearing, pass. So user, if he tries to write something else, that won't get accepted. It will throw an error. You have to choose something from the drop down only. Makes sense, right? I have the next one as grade should be what? 1, 2, 3, 4 only. Again, the same logic. What I'll do is I'll give a restriction to the user over here that in this area you can write the numbers, the whole numbers again, which will be between 1 to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, these numbers will be allowed. But then I just thought that maybe the user will get confused. 1 is for whom and 4 is for whom. So I want to give an instruction over there that 1 will indicate a good score and 4 is for the least one. So you don't go in the reverse order. Or maybe 4 is for the highest one and 1 is for the lowest one, as you wish. But then that message has to be given somewhere. So I'm going for input message now, where I'll write over here enter data as per rule. And then down I can write that proper input message that if the score is between 0 to 200, then you can write a text as what? Fail, right? Enter. Then I'm saying if it is between 201 to 300, you say grade. Oops. Oh, I clicked on My bad, guys. I have just clicked on remove it. Let me just do that very quickly. I'm saying whole numbers. It should be between 0 to 500. In the input message, I'm saying enter the rank as per rule. And my rule is if it is 0 to 200, then fail, right? If it is between 201 to 300, then I'm saying grade will be what? 3. Again 301 to I'm saying 400, then you can write that as grade number 2, and he'll rank 1 if his score is between 400 to 500, then he's on the first rank. I've given that proper input message to the user. Now, what if even if I give a message, the user is still not following and he is writing something other than 1, 2, 3, 4? Then I can go to error alert and I can write my own error message, that is error in rank. What I can say down, rank should be between 0, sorry, not 0, 1 to 4 only. Kindly check. I'm saying okay to this now, and you can see that amazing one. The moment I take my cursor to the cell, it pop-ups those details which I have written over there on the input message. Now that helps my user to understand that okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 is what is to be written. So he may read and then write the score accordingly. Okay, and then let me just check why it is allowing me to write 7, 8, and 9 also. So I'm going for data validation, go for settings, and I made that as maximum 500. It should be ranked between 1 to 4. Making that as 1 to 4. Okay. Now let's see. So if I make that as 5, 6, so it throws and message to us that sorry, the data which you are writing like 5, 7, anything if I write other than 1, 2, 3, 4, it will just start throwing an error. Just remember, if you have written a data already, it won't throw error for that. But then yes, if you go press F2, activate the cell, and then you hit an enter key, that won't get accepted. So I'll have to go and change that. Yeah, that's how you can give data validation rules, and that's how you can even give your own error alert. So you can see that if I write something wrong, I'm getting up my own message as error in rank. Rank should be between 1 to 4 only. Kindly check. So you'll have to retry and then write the correct numbers and it will get accepted. Right? That makes sense, correct? Now, like I did it for numbers, maybe I want it for the text. Then I want to go with some predefined list. Like I have written over here, fail, grade, C, grade B, and grade A. So I'm just passing up the list and I want user to choose something from the list only. He cannot write his own values. He need to choose something from the list. That can also be done. So I'm selecting the data, going for data validation. I'm choosing an option as allowed list. But then what is the source of the list? I'm going to either write the list or just pass the range. Even passing a range will help you. If you open the drop down now, it just gives you the options of okay, these are the only 4 options you can choose. Write the one which belongs to the correct score. And no doubt, if I make any changes over here, like it was only C, and if I say now C with underscore, you can see this drop down will automatically change that to C with underscore. So any changes you do over there, they'll get reflected on your data. That's the benefit of passing a cell address while you're giving the validation rules. I hope you have gotten fair idea about how to give the validation rules. In case if you have given certain rules and you want to remove them, so you can select the data validations and go to data validation window and say clear all. This will allow you to remove the rules from a particular range. Now I can write anything over here and it will get accepted. Okay, go ahead and give try for this concept of data validations. So that was all about our day one. In today's session, what we have explored is we have understood what is the purpose of Excel, what are the use cases where Excel is used, and what are the different impacts we can get from Excel. We had a look onto how the interface of Excel look, the terms used, the ribbon area, what is column, what is row, what is cell, and then how to do a simple data entry, how to write simple formulas like sum, average, min, max, round, how to use your navigation keys very smoothly so that you can even work on a huge data set without scrolling, because that scrolling really involves a lot of time for you to complete the task. We checked few shortcut keys like control enter, F2, F4, control A, shift with navigation keys, control with navigation keys, page up, page down, control page up, control page down, control home, control end. Just listing few of them. They'll help you to really navigate very, very, very fast in your data. Other than that, we even looked onto the concept of how to write down the formulas which will help you to clean your data. That was your text grouping formulas, where we learned concatenate, we learned the concept of left, mid, and right, we learned the concept of ampersand, and we also checked how logical formulas like if, nested if, and IFS can be written to get down the particular results. While we were exploring that, we even understood how the function key F4 will allow you to lock a particular cell and won't move down. That is converting your relative referencing to an absolute one and getting the dollar sign before the column name and the row number. The benefit of this will be your cell will be locked, and then if you make any changes in that cell, the whole report will get adjusted. After exploring that, we even checked that conditional formatting is really a good one to go along with those if results, because then you can highlight your values. You can create data bars on the cell, or you can just say datas are greater than this, less than this, then highlight, or you can say duplicate values should be highlighted, or you can just have different icon sets helping you to indicate rank 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct? And finally, we ended on data validations, which allows you to restrict the entries within a particular range. That is again a good one, especially when you are asking somebody else to feed the info for you, because the XYZ person may write some incorrect values. So if you restrict and then ask him to feed, he'll go with the correct inputs. Input message is again a good one, not always for data validations. Sometimes it may be you don't want to give any rule, it can be any value, but then you want to just give an input message to the user to help him understand what is expected in that particular range. Even in that scenarios, you can use data validations. Yeah. So if you keep on practicing all these concepts on the skills, you will definitely become very proficient in working on Excel with your keyboard very fast. And the most important thing is, I want that your concepts are very clear. So if still not that good, practice a bit more and more and more, and then you'll be amazed with the new learning of your own. Yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining. Bye bye. Take care and keep learning, guys.